I've heard of it. So tell me a little bit more about your city. What is your city famous for?
My city is very, very famous in Italy for the two towers. They are a bit pending, like Pisa. So this
Ah,
is a very famous site here. Two tower. They are called Torre degli Asinelli, Asinelli Tower. They are the symbol of Bologna symbol. Bologna
okay.
symbol. Yes.
All right. And so what is a popular food that you eat in your city?
Mm, Ragu is the most important here, and the second is the piadina, and I think the third things here is tortellini. I don't know if you know them, tortellini.
Tortellini. It's a type of pasta, right?
Yes, types, but is stuffed inside with meat.
Ah, oh, that sounds very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you make tortellinis? Do you know how to prepare it?
Yes, because I am a sort of a chef.
Okay.
So yes, I prepare sometime them, but it takes a bit of time, a lot of time.
Ah, okay. So it sounds like you make your tortellinis fresh.
Yes, it's no, it's a very demanding making them.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Well, good. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit about yourself and about your city,
Hmm.
Paolo. Great to have you here in class
Welcome.
with me.
Yes.
Good. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to continue to welcome our students in class. For those of you who are just joining us, we are going to talk about wood today. So we're going to have a very interesting top discussion about that. We're going to practice using that word. But now we're just kind of getting ourselves warmed up, just introducing ourselves. Okay, so let's see. It looks like I have, okay, just give me a second. I'm trying to see the names. Okay. Basar. Hello, Basar. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Oh, I'm doing just fine today. Thank you very much. Okay, so Basar, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Basar.
My name is Bashar. I am from Turkey. I live in Istanbul. I am 34 years old. Uh, I am working uh, at a bank.
You work at the airlines, is that right?
Uh, I I can't hear.
Did you say that you work at the airlines?
No, I am a software developer.
A software
I working in a bank.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so a software developer and you work in a bank. Okay, very good. Well, that sounds very interesting.
Uh,
All right, good. So you said that you are from Turkey, is that right?
yes, I am from Turkey. I live in Istanbul.
Istanbul, okay. So what is it like there? Is it a large city? Is it small? There are lots of people?
It is crowned city and one side Europe and other side in Asia. Mm, it is big city. It is not a capital, but big city in Turkey.
Okay, all right. Well, good. Well, thank you for telling us a little bit more about your city. Okay, it's great to hear about the different places that our students are from. All right, very good. Well, thanks for your introduction, Basar. Okay, let's move on to Carlos. Hello, Carlos. How are you today?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine. And you?
Oh, I'm doing just Fine. Thanks so much for asking. So, Carlos, tell us a few interesting things about yourself.
Okay, I'm from Brazil, live in the countryside of Rio de Janeiro. I am 90 years old and a student of engineer computer, and that's all, I think.
Okay, so you're studying computer engineering. How many years have you been studying computer engineering?
1 year.
Okay, and what do you think of the program so far? Do you like it?
Yes, I do. I'm trying to take I don't know how to tell it, both. Let me see. Uh, I beg to study in the exterior.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you right now you do you commute to the university or are you living on campus?
Uh, no, I'm not living campus.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, good. We wish you all the best as you continue your career and you studying your major. Okay, good. Well, great. Well, thanks for joining us here in class today. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to continue to welcome our students. We have Bruno. Hello, Bruno. How are you today?
Hi, teacher. I'm doing well, and you?
Good. I'm happy to hear that you're doing well today. I'm doing just fine today. Thanks so much for asking. So, Bruno, can you tell us one or two interesting things about yourself?
Oh, interesting things about me. I don't know. Um, my name is Bruno. I'm from Brazil. I live in the state of Minas Gerais, and I'm 19 years old.
Okay. All right. Good. So we have two 19-year-old students here in class. All right. You have something in common with one of the other students. All right. Very good. Looks like we have two students from Brazil as well. So that's something else that you have in common. Excellent job. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like okay. Obed. Obed, welcome to class. How are you doing today, Obed? Obed?
I'm fine. How are you, teacher?
I'm doing just fine. Okay, so Obed, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Obed. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I interesting computer science and develop a website with the database and support website connection with application with the database. Uh, I'm 37 old. I work in Ministry of Education. That's it.
Okay, good, excellent. I'm really liking your introductions. Okay, it sounds like you've been asked to introduce yourselves quite a bit and to tell interesting things about yourselves. You're using very good English sentence structure so far. And today we're going to expand on the English structures that you have in your English toolbox. Okay, so you can use this when you are at the university, at work, and even at home in your personal situations. Okay. All right, very good. Well, let me just briefly tell you a little bit about myself. I am originally from the United States. I'm from the state of Ohio, but I currently live in Costa Rica. And today I was very noisy here in Costa Rica as Costa Rica played in the World Cup and actually won. So there was lots and lots of excitement here, lots of noise here.
Congratulations, teacher. Much.
Yeah, I guess the guys played pretty good. I was actually out doing some volunteer work this morning, so I wasn't able to watch the game. Where I was in a public area, and there were lots of people glued to large screen TVs. It was very quiet in town today until Costa Rica scored the goal. So very interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our topic. As you could as you would have read in the description, the class description, today we're going to talk about wood. All right, now I'd like for you to tell me what you already know about wood. Okay, and now, so you could either give me a sentence using wood, or you can just explain what you know about the word wood. Okay, so don't worry about if your answers are right or wrong. I just want to know baseline what you know about wood. Okay, so Paolo, okay, what can you tell me about the word wood?
Yes, we can use the verb, the auxiliary would to express a conditional form, like, for example, I would like to have a bigger house. I would like. And another we can use as well this auxiliary to express something that we used to do in the past, like, for example, I used to live in a crowded city, and I would run every day with my friends.
Okay, good. You gave me some really good examples. All right, I'm actually going to type that last sentence in the chat box. We're going to go back and talk about that. Okay, so I used to live in a big city, and I would run. I want to come back to that sentence. Great job, Paolo. Gave some really good examples there. Good job. All right, let's continue. Let's see. Let's ask Obed. Obed, what can you tell me about the word wood?
Okay, the word wood. This explain. I want to this wood. If you really do something, you can would. You can use it. The word would. Example: I would like to visit my uncle tomorrow. I would like to complete my study. I would like to. I would like to be a teacher like you.
That's great. All right. So I would like to be a teacher. Good. Excellent, excellent. Wow. So we've got some different instances where you can use would. Okay, so this is okay, I think I forgot the like there. Sorry about that. All right, so to express a desire. Good, excellent job. All right, let's keep going. Bruno, can you tell me anything else about the word would?
I know that we can use it to offer things like, would you like, I don't know, something? Would you like to have a good day, or would you like to buy something? You can use it to offer things, right?
Yes, all right, so good. It's a polite way to offer things. Okay, so I'm going to put that here, to politely offer things, or to ask for things. Good, excellent job. Wow, guys, we're off to an excellent start so far. Let's see, let's ask Carlos. Carlos, anything else that you can tell me about the word would?
Yeah. A phrase, for example?
Sure, that's fine.
I would like to see that movie. In case of I want to see a movie and I didn't saw it, so I can say I would like to see that movie.
Okay. All right, good. So in a case that you wanted to do something, but you were not able to do it. Okay, so you want to say there, but I didn't see it. Good. Excellent job. Excellent job. All right. Well, good. With that baseline, let's go ahead and practice using the word would. Okay, we're off to an excellent start. let's go back and talk about what we call hypothetical or unreal situations. Okay, and I think Paolo mentioned in conditional sentences. So let's go back and talk about that a little bit. And I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Okay, so let me give you an additional example. Okay, here's a conditional sentence, for example. If I were president, if I were president,
If I were president, I would lower the taxes for how can I say for for poor people to poor.
That was a very good example, Paolo. Excellent job. All right, let's have a different example. Let's go to Alexi. Alexi, let's use. Okay, Alexi, let's have an example. If I were president, I would. Alexi, are you with us? Okay, I think Alexi may have stepped away. Carlos, if you were president, what would you do? Carlos, are you still with us? Carlos, are you able to hear me okay?
Hello, teacher. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Beautiful job. Okay, so, all right, I'm sorry, who asked me? Obed. Obed, why don't you tell us, if you were president, what would you do?
Hmm. I, if I married, I would like to see my son. If I married, I would like to see my son.
Okay, so you said if I were married, I would like to see my son.
Yes. I would
Okay.
like, I would married, I would like to see my son.
Okay, so do you mean there that you would like to have a son?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put it that way. Okay, so I would like to have a son.
Hmm. I was married. I would married. If I was married, I have see my son. Right?
Okay, you're close. You're close. So let me ask you this question, Obed. Do you have a son?
Really? Yes.
Okay, so in that case, we couldn't use the hypothetical situation here because you actually already have a son. If you did not have a son, for example, you could say, if I were married, I would like to have a son.
I get it.
Right. But to see your son, just, well, okay. All right. Let's leave it the way that it is here in the chat box, okay? So if I were married, I would like to have a son. Actually, in the next class, we're going to talk about could and should, okay? And I think one of those words would fit better in the sentence that you're wanting to say. All right. But here in this case, it was good, okay? Just the way that it is.
Okay,
All
you can
right.
write. You can write this text box. This right sentence.
Okay. Can you see the Verbaling chat box, Obed?
Yes.
Okay. It's there in the Verbaling chat box. The very last sentence there? Okay, and if not, then let me put it in the other chat box for you, no problem.
No, I can't. Yeah. If I were married, I would like to have a son.
Beautiful. Good. So it looks like you can only see the other chat box. Okay, all right, very good. So here are some hypothetical situations. Now, we can also use it in the negative form. Okay, so I'll go back to my example about the president. Okay, so if I were president, hello, Elcio. All right, so if I were president, I would not, or I wouldn't. All right, now let me have someone finish that sentence. Okay, let me ask Basar, can you finish that sentence for me? If I were president, I would not, or I wouldn't.
If I were president, I wouldn't take vacation.
I'm sorry, repeat the last part again. I would not.
I would not take vacation.
Okay, good. I would not take a vacation. All right, good. So you would have lots of work to do.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, and what about you, Bruno? If you were president, what would you say? If I were president, I wouldn't.
If I were president, I wouldn't build a dictatorship. Is that right? Dictatorship?
Good. So, all right, so I wouldn't have, or I wouldn't
Build.
I wouldn't build a dictatorship. Okay, you can build it. Okay, so I wouldn't build a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, good. So if you would not build a dictatorship, okay, good. So tell me a little bit more about that. What would you do if you were president then? You would not build a dictatorship, but what would you do?
A democracy. I would build a democracy.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, let's go back to Carlos. Carlos, are you still with us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Carlos, if you were president, what wouldn't you do?
If I were a president, I would invest more in healthy and education.
Okay, all right. So good. So you gave me the positive. Okay, so you said if I were president.
Oh, okay. You want the negative?
Yes. Let me hear the negative.
I will not steal.
That's great. That's great. So if I were president, I wouldn't steal. Okay, and let's add taxpayer dollars, or I wouldn't steal money from the taxpayers.
Oh yeah.
I think you're touching on some very important problems that are happening right now. All right, good. David, so if you were president, okay, I'd like you to tell me in the negative form, what would you not do? What wouldn't you do, David?
Hello. Okay. If I were president, I wouldn't. No, I do not, teacher.
Okay. All right. Okay, your microphone sounds just a little bit low, David. If you wouldn't mind turning up your microphone just a little bit, we could hear you just a little bit better. All right, good, good. Okay, good. So, guys, so this is one way to talk about hypothetical conditional sentences. So we've seen it on the positive side, and we've also seen it on the negative side. Okay, very good. Now, let's just briefly talk about something that was mentioned earlier. when you're using the past tense, okay, but you're talking about repetition in the past tense. I'm sorry, I would not have the World Cup. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat box as well. Elcio is chiming in here. He says that if he were president, he would not have the World Cup in Brazil. Um, actually, Elcio, I'm going to go back to that comment because I watched a report last night on the news that was very important. Last night, I saw in the news that Brazil spent almost $4 billion constructing, is it four new stadiums for the World Cup. And what was interesting about that was that after the World Cup, they don't really see how those stadiums are going to be used. And so a question that was posed to the public is, if you had $4 billion, okay, you actually don't have it, but if you did, again, hypothetical, if you had $4 billion, would you build 4 stadiums, 4 sports stadiums that you don't really have a use for after a World Cup? All right, good. So let's talk about that a little bit. Paolo, what would you do that?
If I had that money, I would build in Brazil a lot of new hospitals, for example. I think I would help a lot of young entrepreneurs, for example, that who could give some jobs around Brazil, for Brazil, for example. But for sure, I wouldn't waste that money for that stupid things.
Okay. Okay, so Paolo, you were able to use would and would not in that statement. That's very good. Okay. Elcio brings up an interesting point. He says, okay, I think he said, I buy a Ferrari. Okay, so when you're talking about things that are hypothetical, okay, you could say here, I would buy. Okay, that's another use of would, okay, because we're not talking about anything definite, we're talking about something that is hypothetical, at least for the moment. Okay, so I would buy a Ferrari. Okay, very good. Excellent job. Okay, maybe we can get one more comment about that. Let's see, let's ask Bruno. Bruno, if you had $4 billion, would you spend it on 4 stadiums that you might not use after the World Cup?
No. If I had $4 billion, I would spend the money on building, better schools, hospitals. I would help. I would help people.
Good. Excellent
I would
job.
do
Very,
that.
very good. Okay. All right. David, what would you do if you had $4 billion? What would you spend it on?
Yeah, maybe I will spend 1 billion for 3 houses for the most poor people. Another billion for build a lot of hospitals. Another billion for build colleges, schools, universities. And the last one for build new roads, highways, and better the public transport.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, guys. Excellent job. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about a different form of the word would. Okay, now this is very interesting, and I think you'll like having this in your English toolbox. Okay, so when we talk about repetition in the past, okay, someone mentioned it earlier, and I want to go back to that sentence. Let me go scroll back up to the top because I noted that sentence because it was a very good one. There we go. All right. I'm going to copy it again and put it back down in the chat box for us.
When I teacher, maybe I want to see some comment about 4 billions.
Yes, go ahead, please do.
When I have 4 billions, first of all, I sleep 2 days, then I wake up. I wouldn't like to see many people homeless. I will take many people this money.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, so let's say it this way. So if I had if I had $4 billion, okay, sorry about that. I'm typing as I'm talking. All right, so if I had $4 billion, okay, I would, let's say it this way, I would help homeless people.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so right, so I would help homeless people. All right, so again, look at the construction. All right, this is a conditional sentence. So you say your if statement first. If I had $4 billion, then you talk about what you would do. We can't say will here because it's a hypothetical situation. Will is for things that are concrete, that you actually have in your hand. Okay? All right, good. So you would help homeless people. Good, very good. Bruno says that he would spend a little bit of that money traveling around the world. Okay, Bruno, you make a good point. You use I would like to. Okay? I would like to expresses a desire. Okay? Okay, but the action, the definite action that you would do if you actually had that money, you would simply say, I would, and then continue your sentence. I would spend a little bit of that money traveling around the world. That's what you would definitely do. If you say, I would like to, okay?
Can you repeat, please? I couldn't hear you.
Okay, yes, all right. And check the chat box for me too. I made sure to try to type it there. Okay, now in your sentence, you said, I would like to spend a little bit of that money traveling around the world. Now, structurally, your sentence is very good. But if you say, I would like to, that expresses a desire only. Okay, but if you want to express an action that you would take, then you simply say, I would. I would spend a little bit of that money traveling around the world.
That sounds more strong, right? I say
yeah, that's right. It's definite. Okay, and it actually, I want to say definite, but it really describes the action that you would take, but not necessarily just a desire or a wish.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. No, it's good that you brought that up, Bruno, because now you have two options.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to just express a desire, now you know how to do it. And if you want to express a hypothetical action, then there's another way to say that. And now you know how to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Before I move on, would anybody else like to express what they would do if they had $4 billion? I want to give everyone a chance to participate. What would you do if you had $4 billion? I see a couple of other students have joined us as well. Welcome, everyone. Okay, feel free to type a couple of sentences in the chat box if you would like, and as you can see, I'm going to be looking there to help you with your structure if need be. All right, so I'm taking it back to a sentence that we had earlier. The sentence is this. Check the chat box for me, and let me put it in the other chat box just in case you're not able to see it. Okay, beautiful job. Okay, now let's take a look at this sentence structure here. Okay, the sentence is, and now I need to scroll back down. I used to live in a big city, and I would run with my friends every day. Now, in this sentence, you see two words or two phrases that express the past tense, a repetitive action in the past tense. All right? We see used to, and we also see would. Okay? Now, I would like to ask, what is the difference? Okay, does anyone have an idea? What is the difference?
Yes. The main difference is that we can't use everywhere would. We can use would just with action verbs like run, to eat, to swim, action verb. Instead, we can use to with all kind of verbs, action and non-action verb, but the meaning is the same.
Okay, yep, we're off to a very good start there. We're a very good start. I'm going to show you some differences, okay,
Maybe,
between...
teacher,
Yes, go ahead.
maybe we have two action, live and run. This is two action, but the second action depend the first action. That's right.
I'm sorry, say that again about the second action. Please repeat that.
Uh, we have two action, live and run.
Mm-hmm.
I think the second action depend to one action, first action. I used to live in a big city, and I would run with my friend every day.
Ah, okay. Okay. That's interesting. Yep. Okay. All right, let's continue to talk about that. Okay. So what do we know about the action? Okay. When I talk about this particular structure, past action. Okay, a past. Okay, so both of these structures involve a change, past action that you no longer do. Okay, but here's the structure, and it's not just would, but you add a word like a time adverb, like always, would always. Okay, now here's the difference. Okay, you would use would always if you're talking about a past action that you no longer do, and you want to express annoyance or amusement. Okay? It can also be that the past was extreme in some way. Okay? Now let's talk about a couple of examples. Okay? Let's see. Let me just grab my examples here. Give me 1 second. Okay, excellent. Okay, so here are a couple of past actions. Okay, I could say, Sarah, I navigated away, sorry about that. I want to get back to you so that I can type in the chat box. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm typing here in the chat box. Sarah would always send me strange birthday gifts. Okay, now listen to my intonation. Sarah would always send me strange birthday gifts. Okay, so you see the past action, and I'm a bit annoyed at it. Okay, she'd send me strange birthday gifts. Okay, it was a repeated action that I felt was that I thought was strange, and I'm annoyed by it. It was extreme because there were strange birthday gifts. Why would she not give me normal birthday gifts? Okay, it's different if I say Sarah used to send me strange birthday gifts. I'm not really annoyed by it. I'm just stating a fact, right? I could change my intonation, but I could also use a different structure. Would always. Okay, let me give you a different example. Okay, let's see. What if I said, Paul, I'm going to use the negative now. Paul would not always arrive early to class, and instead of she, excuse me, Paula, excuse me. My chat box disappeared. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Paula would not always arrive early to class. She came late once or twice. Okay, so what I'm saying is that Paula wasn't always late to class. She would just come late maybe once or twice. Okay? All right, one more example, just to see if we can wrap our heads around this structure. Okay, I don't know if this is a problem in your culture, but sometimes in the States people don't like this. Okay, let me give you this example. All right, Ned would always show up at our house without calling first. Okay, in some cultures people like for you to call ahead. So if you always show up without calling, people are going to be annoyed by it. Okay? All right, do you have any questions about would always?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
When you said, for instance, Paul would not always arrive early to class. This first sentence, is it in the past? Paul would not always.
Yes,
Or
that is the past.
The
okay.
Okay. So it doesn't express a future question, a future situation.
Yeah, you could use this in the future. Let's see. Let's look at an example of it. Give me a second. Let me just grab a quick example for you. Okay, let's go back to our president example. Okay, so if I were president, or if I were elected president next year, I would always keep taxes low. Or I would never raise taxes. Okay, really, it's in the future tense because you're saying if you were elected president next year. Okay, there you've put your sentence in the future tense. All right, and then you talk about what you would always do. Okay, so it actually kind of combines two of our structures. You could do it that way. In the examples that I gave you, those are the past tense. Okay, again, we're talking about things that happened in the past. All right, specifically.
Okay.
Now, one thing that we could add to this, you don't have to say always. Okay, you could say, for example, Ned would sometimes. Okay, he would sometimes, or he would often, he would occasionally show up at our house without calling ahead. Okay, now this is used again, it's used when you're talking about things that caused you a little bit of annoyance, or when you're talking about things that you found funny. Okay, so listen to the difference. If I'm annoyed, I would say, Ned would sometimes come to our house without calling ahead. Okay, there's my tone of annoyance. But I could also use it if I found it funny. Ned would sometimes come to our house without calling first. Can you believe that? Okay, so you can use this option to talk about things that happened in the past. You choose how often those things happen, and your tone will express whether you're annoyed by it or whether you are amused by it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, now let's look at some examples. I want to show you an example where you could not use would always. Okay, just give me a quick moment here. Okay, here's to show you the difference between used to and would always. Okay, here's an example. All right, there is one sentence, and I'm going to give you the second sentence right now.
I have a question, teacher.
Oh, it's starting to rain again. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at the sentence. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about used to or would.
Okay, go ahead.
For example, my grandfather died. Can I say, I would always meet him, or I used to visit him. Sorry. Yani I would visit him, or I used to visit him, but he died.
Okay, all right, let's talk about it. Okay, remember the requirements. Use would always. Okay, so here's your first sentence. I used to visit my grandfather. I used to visit my grandfather before he
couldn't
died.
hear.
Okay.
Hello, teacher. Where are you going? You sound interviewed. You know? We lost. Hello, student.
She's frozen here.
Yeah, you can see, you can hear my
Yes,
teacher.
frozen.
Hey, student, you can hear our teacher?
Yeah,
No.
can't.
I
No.
can't.
I can't.
I can't.
Who's it? Who's the teacher here?
Choose one.
Hello, teacher. Where are you?
She's run away. He's run away.
Let me a few seconds. I will look for our teachers.
Oh,
She is
has
gone.
disappeared.
Yeah, she is gone.
Because you mentioned minutes ago that it started to rain. That might affect her connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe she would run with them, with her friends every day. Ahmed, how are you, Ahmed? Can you hear me, Ahmed?
I'm alright, yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. Where are you from, Ahmed?
From Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, like me. Yes, yes. He's
She's coming.
coming. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
nice.
coming. Yeah, she's coming.
Okay.
I happy.
Welcome.
You're
Welcome
coming.
back, teacher.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
I
Yes.
can. Yes.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. All right. It
But
seems
I
that.
don't answer my question. I couldn't hear answer.
Yes. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna. My system had to restart again. Okay. Very good. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see what's in the chat box. Let me put it in the other chat box for you. Okay.
Teacher, keep your connection is okay.
Yeah. What's happening right now is that there's a thunderstorm.
When you lost, I teach our student here.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The problem is there's a thunderstorm. And every time there's a thunderstorm, it happens. It affects the connection. So sorry about that. Okay, all right. So can you hear me okay now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay now.
I
Okay,
can.
great, great. Okay, good. Okay, so let's take a look in the chat box, okay? So the first sentence there says, I used to visit my grandfather before he died. Okay, that's just a basic statement of fact. It's just something, it's a past action that I used to do. Now, I haven't said whether my grandfather was annoyed by it, whether he found it amusing. There's no indication of whether it was extreme or not. Okay, but now look at the second sentence. I would always visit my grandfather at 3 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Okay, so that's a bit extreme. Nobody really visits their grandfather at 3 a.m., but that's something that I would always do. Okay?
Yeah, but sister, what
Thanks.
about this end of mornings?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand your question. Tell me again, please.
What's about S, little S in the end of mornings?
Okay, so I put S on mornings
Yes.
because it was something that I did every Sunday morning.
Uh-huh. I see it.
Okay, so I could say I would visit my grandfather at 3 a.m. every Sunday morning, or I could eliminate every and simply say on Sunday mornings.
I see it. Thanks, teacher.
Okay, good. Thanks for your question. Excellent job. Okay. All right. So let me just check back in with Basar. Basar, do you understand? Do you see the difference here?
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Okay. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. All right. I'd like to have one more example. Can anyone think of another good example? So what I'd like you to do is to tell me the example using used to, and then give me the same example using would always. Who'd like to try to give me an example?
Chris, I have a question first.
Yes, Bruno.
That Sarah would always be shy, but now she's very outgoing. So if I use Sarah was always shy, but now she's very outgoing, that's the same meaning.
That's it. Okay. It's yes. It's you would just use the simple past tense there. All right.
Uh,
Sarah was shy. That's it. She was shy, but now she is outgoing.
so, but I can't use always. She was always shy. I can't use in this case, right?
Really, you don't need it.
Uh,
In this case, you just couldn't use would always, okay, because the simple past tense conveys the idea for you. Okay, and it really doesn't meet the requirements. Okay, so it just Sarah was shy, but now she's outgoing.
okay.
Or you
Thank you.
could use used to be because it's just a simple statement of fact. She used to be shy, but now she's very outgoing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Good. Good. You're welcome. Guys, thanks for your questions. You're asking some very, very nice questions here. All right, so I still would like one other example. I just want to make sure that we understand the difference here. All right, let me see. I've got a chat here, so maybe there's an example there. I used to make ice cream with my father. Good. Okay, good, Adela. That's nice. I used to make ice cream with. All right, and make sure instead of me, you want to say my. Okay, my, with my father. Excellent. Okay, so
Sorry.
now how can I use that if I say, if I want to use would always?
Yes, I would always make ice cream with my father.
Okay. All right. Now, we could say that. Yep. So I would always make ice cream with my father. That's true. Okay. Now we could also add a few more details. Okay. Because we need to say, okay, it needs to sound as if it was something annoying, or if it was something that brought you pleasure, if it was something extreme. Okay. So what could we add to that? I would always make ice.
Um, uh, is the other is the same. Finally, in summer, make ice
In,
cream with my father. I don't write. It's that. This is to substitute.
Yeah, good. That's right. Good. So I like that. I would always. Okay, I'm going to put it in the other chat as well, just to make sure that everybody gets it. All right. Della, this is an excellent example. Beautiful job. All right. So I would always make ice cream with my father every summer. Okay. So this to me sounds like a very fond memory. Okay. Something that you would smile as you say this. Okay. I would always make ice cream with my father every summer. Okay. So you can definitely see that it brought you joy and pleasure there. Okay, if you simply say, I used to do it, okay, okay, it's okay, you used to do it. It's just a simple statement of fact. Okay? Wow, that was a very good example. Great job. All right, does anyone have any other questions for me today? Any other questions? We've talked about just a couple of different uses of the word would.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
There is another one. I think is the third conditional. We can use for example, in this case, if I had more money, I would have bought a bigger house in a nicer neighborhood.
Okay, say that again. If I had more
If I
money?
had more money, I would have bought a bigger house in a nicer neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Okay, good. That's right. So basically what you're saying is if I actually had the money, okay, so you could use the sentence structure. You can. It's a bit complex. All right. So if I had money, if I had more money, I
But
would.
I don't have money now, so.
Exactly. So this is a hypothetical situation. That's right. Good. Excellent job.
That's the problem. It's
Right.
real.
See, that's the problem. It's real.
Yes.
Yes, very good. So the opposite of that, okay, the reality would be, since I don't much past tense, I bought a modest house, or a small house. I bought a small house in a middle class neighborhood, maybe. Okay, so that could be the reality. Since I don't have much money, I bought a small house in a middle class neighborhood, or in a modest neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Very good. So you see, Paolo, I like the example that you gave, okay, because we can talk about lots of different things. Usually when you're learning another language, you tend to talk about only the true things that are happening in the present, or you can basically talk about things in the past. But today, we've practiced talking about things that are hypothetical. We've talked about annoying past things. We've talked about pleasant past things. And we talked about repeated actions in the past tense. Okay, using used to, and also using would always, or would sometimes, would occasionally. Okay, so I encourage you to put these structures, put these words in your English toolbox, and use them. Use them as often as you can. Okay, that way your English will become more colorful, and you'll be able to express yourself with more meaning. All right, well, that's the end of our session for today. Thank you, everyone, for coming to class. Thank you for your wonderful, wonderful questions. Good. Carlos has added the Hangout to his toolbox. Great. Very good. Excellent, excellent. All right. Okay, well, that's going to do it for today. Please look out for my future classes. I hope to see you again soon. Also, just know that you can book me for a private lesson if you would like. You're welcome. Have a great evening, everybody.
Okay,
Thank
see ya,
you.
Carissa.
Bye.
Bye.
Teacher.
Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.